What up? All right. So I noticed that I have 100 subscribers on YouTube, and figured for my 100 subscriber YouTube thank you video, I'd start becoming a live streamer. I'm going to be a Twitch star. Not really. Basically, I do though have a thesis that I think is well supported by the evidence for anyone who's paying attention. That, I mean, the entire trend of my lifetime has been that more and more stuff is going online, that there are audiences for all kinds of things that you couldn't have previously imagined. I mean, just look at TikTok, look at Hawktua. How are there so many insects inside? It's actually insane. I'm going to open this window in a second and hopefully corral them out of here. But basically, my thesis is that the internet, and this is something that's been talked about by people like Balaji and some others, but what we used to think of as the land of opportunity and freedom and this amazing community was the United States. And I think, unfortunately, the United States has been collapsing in virtually every appreciable way for my entire life, even maybe slightly before I was born, but definitely I think it's pretty clear that for every year, every year since 1989, it's certainly gotten worse. And that the internet has kind of, I don't think anybody really could have predicted this, but at this point, the internet has really adopted that position of the shining nation on a hill, the place where there is a lot of opportunity. In fact, there's like a shocking amount of opportunity even now, even in a relatively mature era of the internet. And that personal brands are incredibly important, and especially so with all that said, I want to be streaming more. I'm planning to stream more. Just in general, I have finally figured out, after all the years of different experimentation of different types of content, different countries, different languages, different types of employment, and working for myself, working for other people, being unemployed, traveling the world, I feel like I've really gotten a good handle on what I care about, what the world is really about, what is important. And I wrote a book last year. It took a year and a half or so, but I published my first book last year, almost exactly a year ago, that goes into detail about all the things that I've kind of, feel like I've gleaned from all of my experiences and so on. And anyway, I really think that the future is here. The future is more putting yourself out there essentially on the internet, just like cranking out the content. I mean, God, the standards that some people have, or the lack of standards for people have, of what ends up going online is pretty shocking to me. Whether it's music, all kinds of all things that people create, video content. And I think I've held myself to such a high standard, truthfully, that it's at a certain point, becomes, I'm not going to say I'm a perfectionist, but I definitely really do try to hold myself, for my own sake, to a really high standard. And I think that that's hamstrung me at certain points. So, because I do have this like constant creative drive, and I've made beats and rapped and images, collages and videos and podcasts and all kinds of stuff. And anyway, I figured out exactly what I want it to look like I figured out what my format is, what my kind of creation engine is going to look like, where it all goes, and all of it ends up coming back to streaming and just like recording a lot more. So supporting that thesis, I've set up my streaming situation, and I'm, as a sort of test environment for this, I'm actually planning to build this app that is going to help people to, well, I'll start by solving my own problem. Not only is it going to take a percentage that you can, with like a simple UI, you'll be able to determine what percentage you want, a percentage of everything you save, as well as a percentage of everything you spend. And it's going to figure out, okay, so you had, let's just use easy numbers, 10 grand come in this month, and let's say that the percentage you want is 20%. So 2,000 for this month, and then also let's say you spent 5,000, and it's going to say, okay, here's 2,000 that you earned, the 20% of what you earned, and the 20% of what you spent. So this month it would be 3,000, and then it's going to say, so it's going to suggest that you invest 3,000 in Bitcoin if that's what your settings are. But then above and beyond that, the agent will look at your goals, your financial situation, like a light version of your financial situation. It's not going to dive in and do analysis on your entire bank account. It's just going to say, here's where you are, here's what you are shooting for. And then also it's going to look at a kind of basket of indicators. So it'll say, from where we are right now, what's the 200-day moving average look like for Bitcoin? What's the RSI, relative strength index? It'll put together a whole handful of indicators that we think are important, and it'll be weighted. And it essentially is going to spit out almost like a Whoop style. If you know what the Whoop is, it's this this fitness tracker. It'll spit out one score that's like the suggested. It's like the heat score for whether or not it's a good time to buy Bitcoin or whether you should wait. And I think in the later versions of the app, it will actually do it for you. It'll actually either buy it for you or it'll put it in an account to buy it for you a little bit later, based on the conditions, the timing. So and I want to build it live. I mean, plenty of it will probably be dead air, but I want to build it live, have the video footage to play with, to upload, and then also like have this be part of my portfolio project for myself, potentially even. I honestly do think that it's the kind of thing that could be like a freemium SaaS, like a little micro SaaS business that could help bring in a little bit of money as well. My ideal scenario has always been to work for myself, work from anywhere, and honestly, ideally hire nobody, like have no employees. I don't want to, not that I don't like people, it's just more I don't want to have to A, manage anybody, and B, I don't want to have to be an employer, and in most cases that means paying people less than their value of their labor, essentially exploiting them. I just don't want to deal with all that. I don't like that at all. So my ideal scenario has always been work for myself, work from anywhere, employ nobody, leverage technology, and just generate a little bit of cash. And I think that's totally doable. Plus, in the meantime, I think it'll help me to make a case for I'm interviewing. So I've got a bunch of of interviews that are rolling in suddenly. I think my kind of abnormal experience in the tech world, which to me and to other people might have at times seemed like disorganized and didn't have a cohesive narrative, because I went from sales to product marketing to working for myself, doing consulting, to product management, kind of out of left field, and then more pre-sales, like solutions consulting, and then oh my god, it's like all these insights. It's crazy. The window is closed. Anyway, that it kind of has this through line now, and it actually kind of has set me up perfectly for where things are with AI and with my combination of product and sales experience. So anyway, kind of funny, but now I'm suddenly getting absolutely flooded with all these interview requests, and I haven't even really been out doing any applying on my own, like outbound applying, as it were. But I'm sure that when I do, that'll be blowing up too. But yeah, it's a crazy time, as you know. So, or maybe you don't know, but it's a crazy time out there. And what I want to do is build this app to practice building from scratch using tools like Codex. I've done some Claude Code stuff as well, but and then also just to practice the muscle of the streaming, because I think it's just genuinely where everything is going, and not to mention it's where all of my projects, when I think about it, like again, at the end of the day, everything that I want to do has to do with making video and being online. And there's a huge community out there. That is the new community. That is the new America. If, for lack of a better term, like the shorthand for the place where the opportunity is, the place where the money is, the place where you can be yourself, I think it's the internet. And it's like a kind of paradigm shift that I think a lot of people have yet to really internalize. So especially for somebody like me who doesn't have any plans to continue to live in the United States, if at all avoidable, which I think it is, then yeah, it makes a lot of sense for me to pursue this in this way. So that's what I'll be doing. As you can see right now, this is kind of just a test run. Right now I'm at 7% battery. Obviously live streaming on OBS to the internet while having my mic plugged in and everything it's definitely puts a big demand on the battery. Plus I'm on the VPN. You know, I got all this stuff going on. The Bluetooth, the mouse. And in a minute here, it's already 7:45 here. Getting pretty late. I'm gonna head out, go for a walk, get something to eat. But this has been good. It's been nice to get all these settings together. I had to completely rebuild my laptop recently, unfortunately, and thankfully we were able to get it to work. But yeah, point is, this has been a nice little exercise to get myself a little bit more accustomed to all this. Acclimated is actually the best word. Acclimated, and to try out my Cholo headband, and yeah, just see all the pieces come together. So pretty cool. I guess I should have been in this view the whole time, but hey, like I said, not a professional podcaster. Shout out Jack Mallers. Yeah, not a professional, just trying to give it a shot. So hold on a second. Let me just do this too. This feels better. Yeah, still learning. So maybe one day I'll have like a much more established setup, but for the moment, this is what we're working with, and now I feel like I am ready to actually start to build the thing. I actually did start to build it already, but you know, to really, because I've been refining the actual concept for a while, which is actually, I talked earlier about being a perfectionist. It's less than I'm a perfectionist. It's more that I feel like I always, like when I spend more time on something, that it gets better. And so when I would make music, I'd spend a bunch of time on the music and it would be good. But then I'd be like refining it further and making it better, or coming up with completely separate new ideas that were way better than the previous ones. And you know, that prevented me, I think, for a long time from uploading a lot of stuff. And that's not going to be, hopefully not be the case anymore. But yeah, we'll see. Thanks for coming, and this has been Get Me Off This Rock. At least it will be eventually. That's where this is all headed. So thank you guys. Thank you to God, who helped bring all this together, who made all this possible. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Or just myself. That's the beauty of this too. I'll talk to you. Hey you. Hey. Talk to you soon.